story time. But not these stories. This is called The Pickle Who Was Never Chosen. Once upon a time in a land called the USA, in a state called Nevada, there lived a family and their fridge. And inside that fridge was a jar of pickles, exactly this high. Now, the family, not too many of them liked pickles, except for one kid named Doug. And Doug, oh, he loved pickles. He'd get up in the middle of the night, open that pickle jar, try to be as quiet as he could, but his mom always caught him, always saying, "Doug, are you getting into those pickles?" "Yes, Mom." "Yeah, well, keep it down." So he'd grab a pickle all the time, and he'd eat the pickle, and he'd go to bed. So one day, they went to the store, and they got a special jar of pickles with garlic juice in them. Yay! Anyway, and they kept it in the back of the fridge, trying to hide it from Doug, because they didn't want him to eat all the special pickles. So, there in the back of the fridge, in the jar, there was the pickle named Fobby. Fobby the pickle. He never understood his name. He always thought it was Fabio, but they told him that the O wasn't on it. They just called him Fobby. And no one liked Fobby because he was a tiny pickle. He was only that big. And all the other pickles hated him. They said, "Fobby, you have a weird name and you're not a good pickle, so we're not going to hang out with you." So they all scooted to the other side of the jar. And Fobby was always sad. He always sat there. He always looked up at the jar, wishing one day that Doug would take him with him, and so he could get ingested and go to pickle heaven one day. But no, every day Doug would come in there, and he'd grab every pickle besides Fobby. Every single pickle. He'd grab Joe. "Oh yeah, man, I'm going to pickle heaven." He'd grab Stacy. "Yay, pickle heaven." He'd grab Mark. Mark was deaf. He'd grab Phil. "Pickle heaven." Mark won. Or Mark? Was it Mark? No, it was Phil. See, Phil wanted to be in the drama club at his high school, but he never got there. So he wanted to go to pickle heaven. That's where all the pickles want to go. Pickle heaven. It's awesome there. They got pickle juice hot tubs. Yeah. Everything a pickle would ever want in life. But Doug never chose Fobby. Not once. So he opened the jar, and Fobby was the only one left. And he looked at Fobby and he said, "Nah, not today." And he closed the lid. And Fobby was all by himself at the bottom of the jar, and he cried and he cried. And he cried and he cried and he cried. And he cried and cried. The pickle juice. The jar started to fill up and fill up to the top. And finally, Fobby was at the very top, near the lid. So the next day, Doug opened it. Fobby fell out onto the floor. And Doug looked down and said, "Gross, I'll throw that away." So he threw Fobby in the trash. And Fobby started to cry, and he started to cry. The garbage can started filling up with pickle juice, and pickle juice, and pickle juice. And it flooded the whole house with Fobby's tears. Pickle juice. The family was swimming in pickle juice, and they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out why their house was flooded with pickle juice. So they went to the trash can where it all started. And Doug's mother said, "You're the one who did this. You and your pickle obsession. Figure out what's going on." So Doug looked in the garbage can, reached in and he found Fobby and he lifted him up. And Fobby said, he said to Doug, "Please just eat me and send me to Pickle Heaven." At this point, Doug passed out, falling down in the pickle juice. And the pickle, Fobby, slowly flew, went down his throat and into his stomach. And Fobby finally got to go to Pickle Heaven. But unfortunately, Doug kind of drowned in pickle juice. But at least Fobby got to go to Pickle Heaven in the end.